Hello and welcome everyone to episode 143 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, Brandon Bovia, letterer of manga like Dragon Ball Super, Kaiju number 8, and many, many more. And we are, we've been like, the time skip at this point was about a little over 50 chapters ago, but like, we're about to get to the new world, like proper.
Yeah, we're about to arrive, and that's wild to think about, but it's also, this is a big moment for me. We have officially reached Punk Hazard, the last arc I left off on, and I'm not quite, I still read quite a bit into it, but I vaguely remember where I left off at. And I don't want to say for those who are, reading along with everything, so I don't want to spoil things or anything like that. But I will also say that, it's just becoming more and more evident as I continue on that I'm forgetting loads of moments in here that happened, because I see some of the stuff that happened in these chapters, like, that happened? Holy crap.
Yeah, no, it starts off with a bang, and so it really is like, this is probably the arc here in Punk Hazard. I'm gonna be like, so did you remember this? I feel like I'm gonna be asking you that a lot, like, how, does this ring a bell at all?
Oh my gosh, that'll be something, that's for sure. Actually,
yes, and I will be
seeing all of it, but
yeah, and
man,
then, maybe roughly 50-ish chapters until like completely pure new content.
Yeah, I'd say probably I'm going to guess about 30-ish chapters until I am completely blind. Like 100% have no idea what's coming next other than osmosis of major characters.
Yeah, and there's
one such
more.
character does get introduced in this very first chapter, so
Yes. So I got a lot to say. I'm giddy.
So yeah, let's get to it with chapter 651, A Voice from the New World. And hey, we get our 2-page spread with all the characters and their animal incarnations.
Yeah, I actually did a little bit of Googling, since I was like, I don't know what this Toshio Asakuma thing is at all. But apparently he's a figure designer who specializes in like anthropomorphized animals, or just like animals doing things in like human contexts. And so apparently he had a One Piece crossover. These little like animals posing as straw hats in this spread are actual figures that you can buy.
Oh, that's funny. Honestly,
yeah, that's cool.
Pretty good choices all around. Although the Chopper one makes me crack up because it's literally a tanuki.
Yeah.
Or maybe a red panda. I can't quite tell. In black and white.
I feel like it's incorrect either way.
Yeah.
I love the tiger doing the 3-sword style with Zoro. It's also great.
Yeah. that's real good. And honestly, Robin as the Falcon, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. And, Usopp's all excited because, oh crap, we're getting treasure out of this. And, the Shirahoshi's hanging behind with the other Straw Hats as Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji go hunt down Caribou.
Yeah, it feels like they got the word that my brain jumped to is homework. Like this is like, oh, did we really?
Yeah, it's like we're trying to party. We got this idiot that we just dealt with, and we just
like
kicked him out.
Chores. Yeah,
chores. Like, oh, he's worth 200 million, but
right? Yeah, because that would normally be a big deal.
It would, except he's already knocked out. They find him very quickly. He's knocked out, and all the treasure is loose. So
yeah. I love how nonchalant this is. They're just like, all right, we're gonna go. Let's just get this all wrapped up. They're all carrying a bunch of bags, and they just walk away.
And then it's like, okay, how do we get back? And they just have, they're all loaded up with treasure. Like, it is a ton of treasure. This might be more than what they had at Skypiea.
Honestly, yeah.
Hard to say for sure, but our catfish minister is trying to calm down the agents of Big Mom. And we get to meet Pickums, a lion man, I think.
Yeah, it's complicated, but for right now, yeah, he's a lion. He's a lion-looking guy, and as the way I feel like we sort of got a breakdown of this at the start of Fishman Island, but the way that he breaks it down is just like, what you give us a month's worth of sweets from this factory, and then Mama lets you use her name, and I love that they call her Mama. Which is just adorable. And actually, speaking of adorable, because like you see this Peckham's guy, and he's just like giving the catfish guy, the minister, he's just giving him all kinds of hell, and then it's just kind of like, all right, do you know what happens when you make Mama angry? And then he takes off his sunglasses, and he's got these cute little dot eyes, and he's like, you get ruined. It's just like he's a gangster, but he's adorable. It's great. He's just a little lion man. I love him.
Yeah, it's very cute. And what better way to ruin these negotiations than have Luffy show up?
Yes, of course. Yeah, because of course, from what we know, I think this was because of Hody and his gang, right? That they attacked the factory.
Yes. They were just attacking.
So and so they don't have any sweets to give, and Luffy just strolls up like, I ate tons of sweets. This is great.
Yeah, me was good, but those Fishman Island sweets are the best. It's like, did he say sweets? Eat sweet. Shut up, Luffy.
Yep.
It's like, wait a second, that's Straw Hat Luffy. What's he doing here? And it's like, all right, what's that about the sweets? It's like, oh, did you come to buy sweets as well? Good idea. I just stuffed myself silly with them. It's
Luffy,
like, wait.
No.
It's like, wait a second, he was eating some? What the hell? It's like, no, there's a good reason.
Yes, and here we get, Peckham's is freaking out, and we get our second of Big Mom's agents here, who is Baron Tamago, who's just Humpty Dumpty, Dr. Eggman, and like 80% leg.
He literally is just tall Dr. Eggman in a suit. But I also love how he has a tea and a saucer on top of his head that he balances. That's fun.
Tamago is the Japanese word for egg, in case you were wondering. And also his gimmick, he's French.
Yes, he is very French. I also love that, okay, we got the long arm people. Okay, apparently we have the long leg people as well.
Yes. I actually, the long arms and the long legs were both on the slave sheet back in Saboti.
I forgot about the long legs.
Yeah, they were both at the auction.
Weird.
so I think this is our first one, and
yes,
he's a freak. I love him. I love both Baron Tamago and Peckham's. I'm so glad we're actually meeting characters from Big Mom's crew now. Like it feels like, wow, okay, things are opening up.
We're getting some wild designs with them, and it's nice to like. It's amazing how interesting these two are immediately compared to Hody's crew.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, we get a reminder that Big Mom's actual name is Charlotte Linlin. And, we get to see her pirate flag. And Fishman Island is under the protection of Big Mom. It's like, oh, she sounds nice. I'd like to meet her. It's like, no. This is business. They are allowed to display the flag in exchange for 10 tons of sweets every month.
Yes,
holy crap.
10 tons.
and this is the part that got me because, I'm not caught up, but I have seen the names of the arcs. And it's not, I don't find those to be spoilers because they're just island names. That's typically how it's done. It's not like the villain names of Dragon Ball Z, for example, how people usually mark those. But no, in One Piece, it's based on islands typically, for at least from fans, as far as I can tell. I don't know if that's how Oda does it.
I believe so, yeah.
We actually see Whole Cake Island, which I'm like, oh, that's a future place. Okay, that's where we're going.
Yeah, and true to its name, it literally is just an island made out of cakes.
It looks like it's melting cake, honestly.
Yeah. There's obviously way more. We'll learn about this later, but it is cool. I did kind of forget that, like, we actually saw it on screen. And we're hearing Big Mom talk on screen for the first time. We don't see her quite yet, but she's apparently really waiting for a tea party that she's really excited about.
She is also quite terrifying. Huge eyes, huge lips, major teeth. Like, she seems like just a huge character.
Yeah, well, the first thing that we see her do is that, like, she's talking to somebody, about the tea party. As somebody, she's like, oh, I can't wait for the tea party. And somebody, if you don't see them on screen, but they're like, oh boy, treats from Fishman Island. Oh, are you as eager as I? Then you can wait for the party inside my belly.
Oh no.
So Big Mom is maybe a cannibal?
Maybe.
And then because you just get this chomp, and then you see these screams of agony and a shot of a girl with 3 eyes, just kind of exasperated.
Yeah, it's like whatever. And then we get this mask guy, Bobbin, apparently is his name.
Yeah, Bobbin. That's a good name for a treat.
We get sort of their whole thing is like, we beat them up and burned them wherever we went. The baked treats were so delicious there. I'm sure that the entire country burning must have smelled heavenly. What a shame. But alas, they could not produce the amount of sweets we agreed upon. If they can't give us sweets, they simply have to die. So there's their whole thing. It's like, oh no, Fishman Island's in trouble.
Exactly. It's like, here's this scene is, we made an example out of somebody else to establish what could happen to Fishman Island if they can't figure out the whole sweets situation. And
then we get that 2-page spread where we flip it and we get the size of Big Mom. Not the entire, we don't see her. Yes. She's all in shadow, but just her crazed eyes, giant lips, and drool. And I think it's the drool that gets me, is just that she's constantly slobbering. And it's a very different feeling to how Jewelry Bonnie was. Where she was drooling, but it was more, I don't know, charming in its own way. But
this is horrifying. Yeah, just from a couple pages ago, the way that like Big Mom said off screen, that my stomach acid is overflowing thinking about the treats from Fishman Island. And then you see like, it almost looks like her stomach acid. This is gross. I'm sorry. And it's like her drool is so hot that it's like steaming the ground. I think that's what the smoke is.
Oh wow. That's what the hell is her devil fruit? That's what that comes down to.
I know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
It's not what you think.
Huh. Well, yeah, because like we already had the munch fruit from Wobble,
yeah.
So it's like it has to be something different, and I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah, there is I'm sorry, just to be cheeky, there is actually a hint to it somewhere during this sequence, but
I mean, there usually is, but it's kind of hard to pick up.
Yeah, you would not
unless you already know.
Yeah, you would not know based on this, but there's. I understand some of the extra context going on here.
So, you ready for tinfoil hat theory time from me?
Oh, let's do it.
Because I was just, as we were talking, once again, I had a thought that popped up, and obviously you can't say anything. But I mentioned the drool and Jewelry Bonnie and how she has this hunger to her. And then I realized Jewelry Bonnie has the same kind of lipstick as
she does.
Big Mom.
She super does, actually.
Where it just has the top bit there and then down the other parts. Like it's a very specific makeup style. And I'm like, oh crap, is this why Jewelry Bonnie's so hungry? Because her mom took the food all the time? Or something like that. Like is Jewelry, obviously they have different names, but obviously they have all kinds of different aliases and whatnot. Could she be related? I don't know, but it's like, what is that about? Is that just a coincidence, I guess, is the question.
I think there are parts of your theory that are on the right track.
I am quite curious where that's gonna go.
Yeah, no, there's a God. I'm such a big Mom fan because as we've seen from like all 4 pages of her right now, like she's insane.
She's a presence for sure.
Big Mom is nuts. I love her.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that.
And also we see the Triclops girl again, which I feel like if you're pointing her out twice, that probably means that she's also important.
Yeah, she's definitely important, and honestly, I love her design. She's a great design.
Yeah, well, there will be more of all of this later.
But we go back to Fishman Island and the sweets factory, and we can actually see the damage now. It's that guy that was chomping all over the place. That chopper
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the one that damaged the candy factory. It's like, okay, you have until tomorrow to produce the sweets. It's like, no, the machinery's ruined. We cannot do anything. It's like, no. It's like, and that's when Sanji steps in. It's like, wait, you can't just wait a couple of days? And freaking Zoro didn't realize you can be an emperor with such tiny balls.
Yeah, I love this. I love that interaction so much. It's like, Mama is not a man. She is une femme. She does not have les balls.
And Sanji immediately starts imagining a hot mom.
I love, having just seen like 40% of Big Mom on screen a page ago, and then seeing what Sanji imagines her as is like, oh, okay. Sure, buddy.
Yeah, all right, sure. That's when Tamago reveals that she's gonna send her fiercest people and destroy Fishman Island because they don't have what we need. She's
and I love
like, wait,
Luffy's,
what?
We just saved this island. I almost bled out. And you're talking about destroying it again. Come on.
Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the transponder snail starts ringing, and it's like, oh, it's that's Big Mom. So you answer it, Peckham's. No. I don't like getting yelled at. So you do it, Tamago. And Luffy just grabs a hold of it.
Yeah, I actually really love before we get to the whole Luffy bit of like. It kind of humanizes Peckham's and Tamago here, where like they're both obviously. They seem very important, like, you know, like big businessmen, but like there's something very relatable about the like, oh God, I don't want to answer.
Very much so. Like,
yeah,
I don't like
it makes them feel like
at.
normal dudes. Yeah, exactly.
And Luffy answers the transponder snails like, and Big Mom's immediately like, you're not them, my men. Who are you? It's like, no, I'm Luffy. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. And it's like, monkey D.
I love that Peckham's and Tamago are freaking out. They're like, no.
Oh, gosh. And that's when he's like, yes, Garp's grandson, the one who stirred up that war 2 years ago. It's like, nah. And Luffy just immediately goes on, there aren't any sweets. I ate all of them. I ate all 10 tons.
Yes. And I feel like this is, God, I love this for multitude of reasons, but this is such a good like character moment for Luffy, because I feel like you immediately know what he's doing, right? Especially where, you know, he said that like, what do you mean you're going to destroy Fishman Island? We just saved it. And so this is Luffy's way of like, no, I'm going to take responsibility for all of this because like this is where my friends are, so I'm going to protect them. And so it's to me, I kind of read it as like this is Luffy's kind of emotional intelligence, you know, at play again, where he just immediately reads the situation and goes like, "No, this is my fault." And Big Mom even calls him out on it.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're lying. It's like, no, I did eat them. It's they were. I just didn't realize they were promised to someone else. So hey, we just got a bunch of treasure. You can have all of it as repayment for the treats. It's like, no, I can't eat treasure. I want my sweets. And that's when Tamago and them shows up. It's like, we just lost some ships because of that Captain Kidd,
which is a great detail.
So we can see Kidd is still raising hell. Nice to see. So it's like, should we wait another 2 weeks and accept the treasure because we could use that to get new ships? It's like, no, don't be so cowardly. So I want what I want, but I am intrigued by this kid. So, all right, I'm going to alter my target of my wrath. Fishman Island's fine. You're the one I'm after now. So come to the new world. Let's meet.
Yeah, and then I love Luffy kind of twists this on its head because like you would think like, oh, all right, fine, whatever. But Luffy's like, no, I got a bone to pick with you because you can't protect Fishman Island. So I'm going to come to the new world, kick your butt, and declare that Fishman Island is my territory. And it's just, that is such a baller move.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I love it. That was that's a great chapter. Just seeing Luffy interact with another emperor.
and yeah, I guess we've seen this, you know, like it's not dissimilar to how he treated Whitebeard, at least in the sense that Luffy's not afraid of authority. Like he's just not. No. He's going to be himself no matter what. And so it is just down to whether or not the other end is receptive. And, you know, Whitebeard very much saw it as like, oh, this little upstart, like, oh, this is great. But with Big Mom, it's like, all right, you know, you're playing with the big boys and the big girls now. So we're gonna
take care of this.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the new world yet, And,
Nope.
the New World is the territory of the emperors, and we've already pissed off one emperor. It's so good.
Yep. Technically
Fantastic
pissed
chapter.
off too because of Blackbeard.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Luffy for you. But, yeah, we do have an SBS to finish things off where somebody points out is like, we found out that Chopper can use his monster form safely without the Rumble Ball, which means that he doesn't need them for his other forms. So why does he eat one in this other page? And it's like, that's because it was candy. That's just Rumble
like
Ball
Oda-
candy that he eats when he's nervous.
It feels like he's covered his butt a little bit.
Oh,
but
he's
I'll
absolutely
allow
covering his
it.
butt. He even makes that joke about covering his
Yeah.
butt. But we do get to see all of his points. So for some reason I thought there were 7 points, not 6. Initially, beyond the monster, like besides the monster point. I thought the monster point was the 8th point, but I'm just misremembering. So we got Brain, which is his cute form, Walk Point, which is his reindeer form, Heavy Point, which is his human form. That's the one we really hate.
Yeah.
Guard Point, which is his fluffy form, Kung Fu Point, which is the weird fat form, and Horn Point, which is his big horn point form, which we have seen those. So we've lost Jump Point in favor of Kung Fu Point.
We were kind of harping on poor Chopper's, like, the designs for his, new forms and whatnot. I guess, like, really, it's like 2 to 3 out of the 7 that are kind of duds.
Yeah, I'd say only Heavy Point and Kung Fu Point are bad. The rest are fine.
I don't love Horn Point, but, like, it's not as egregious as Kung Fu and Heavy, which are just, they're the worst ones.
Kung Fu Point doesn't look... Here's the thing. Jump Point looked awesome.
Yeah.
And if they just adapted Jump Point to adapt into Kung Fu, which he obviously did, but still kept the design for it, I think it would have worked out better.
Yeah, it's like the wide mouth, the proportions, it's ugh.
Yeah, something sleek and muscular. I think that would have been cool to have rather than just, we got to have Chopper be silly at all times.
Yeah, I don't love it.
No, I'm not a fan either, but we'll see how things shift, I suppose. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get to chapter 652, A Premonition of Stormy Seas. And hey, we get to check in on Chimney, who has become the station master.
Yeah, she's grown up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely tell she's grown up. She mainly looks the same. Looking at her, I realized it's like maybe my whole Bonnie theory is just not quite right, because she also has the same sort of lipstick thing that Big Mom has,
right?
And Bonnie. Yeah. So it's like the lipstick thing probably means nothing. It's just a design choice in that way. It's the hunger bit that's probably the more thing closely. But it's funny. It's the drool and the lipstick that made me make the connection in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I think there are things about your theory that will get explained later. I think is probably the best way I can put it. There are things you are looking out for that are like, oh no, there's a reason.
Well, good to know. But yeah, I like the design. It's not too different, and it's it is what it is.
I kind of think she's better in a position of authority than Kokoro.
Yes, for sure. But we get into the chapter itself where we have a discussion between Jinbei and Neptune. And Neptune's asking on the status of the Sun Pirates. Are they working well under Mom's jurisdiction? It's like...
Which is new information, I think, right?
Yes, this is the first we've heard any of this about what Jinbei's situation actually is.
Yes.
So the Sun Pirates are now working for Big Mom. And Jinbei's like, well, she's not reasonable, but we're managing.
Relatable.
And he's like...
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. And Neptune's like, I can't believe that you would actually work for anyone other than Tiger. And it's like, no. It's like, I don't care about being a leader, which makes better sense with him wanting to join Luffy's crew. But we had to affiliate ourselves with one of the 4 emperors in order to ensure the safety of everyone. Things are kind of working out. But I also have to say, I'm going to be leaving Big Mom's organization soon. It's like, you're accepting Luffy's invitations. I was like, yeah, I have my reason, but My world is one of word and honor. I am bound not by paper contracts, but by promises and symbolic drinks of brotherhood. If I'm to cut my old ties, I would have to go back on my word, and there's some possibility that this will anger Big Mom in a way that could bring harm upon the island.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
It is sort of funny we're getting the scene knowing what Luffy just did.
Yep.
Yeah, but it makes sense for the way that Jinbei was like, I really want to join you guys, but like I kind of got some stuff to work out, and so that's the stuff. Is like, yeah, he's currently affiliated with Big Mom, and so this definitely feels like, okay, well, this is all going to be tied up in stuff that we'll just have to figure out later.
Yeah, and I love this where it's just like, we if we ever have to worry about our own defense, it's like, oh, as it happens, we've gained 70,000 rough and tumble soldiers from the Fishman district. So if we ever lose her protection, there is another I would seek to borrow. And, the Jolly Roger bearing a straw hat. So it's like,
again,
he
is
wants
also great.
Luffy's protection, so, yeah.
Luffy just said that he's going to claim Fishman Island as his territory. And here now we have Neptune like, yeah.
I'm down for that.
I like that they came to that conclusion independently of one another.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty great. But it's also time to learn something not so great. Where, hey, the Tamate box? We kind of need to get that back. It's like, no, that's a gift. No, well, there's a reason. It's going to explode when it opens. We armed it with a bomb in case the person who stole it would strike again and try to find more.
Which is fair enough.
Fair. But, that obviously never happened. So if Luffy opens up the box, they're going to get blown to bits. So we need to stop them from doing that.
You jump cut and it's, oh, now they learned that Luffy gave all the treasure to Big Mom. So we literally, not only did we just tell Big Mom off last chapter, we sent her a bomb.
Yes. I love this line from Luffy. It's like, isn't she crazy? She says she'll destroy Fishman Island just because you ran out of sweets. I mean, I could understand if it was meat, but sweets? So I told her off.
Yeah. And I love, Jinbei's just like, you picked a fight with Big Mom? You shouldn't have done that.
And I love that not only are Usopp and Chopper freaking out, but Frankie and Brooke. Meanwhile,
yes,
Robin just smiling.
Yeah, just in the background, like, we've pissed off an emperor. Yes, and it's just, I love the way everybody's freaking out. Just Jinbei is just like, oh god, I gotta cut ties with Big Mom before this gets complicated.
We also see the potential reversion of Usopp, who has gone back into his fearful ways at the thought of, oh god, one of the emperors.
I feel like this is justified, though.
Yeah, they are four of the strongest people in the world.
I think that's what kind of is getting me is like, Usopp's he's the scaredy cat in the situation, and Nami sort of too, as she beats the mess out of Luffy for giving away the treasure. But it's like, this makes sense. You're basically dealing with like a big mob boss, and you send him a bomb. And you said that you're not nothing. I'm going to come kick your butt. And it's just like, no, any normal person would be freaked out by that.
Yeah, very, very, very true. But I do love how Nami's more upset about losing the treasure than the whole pissing off Big Mom.
I love that she beats up everybody, and then you just like Luffy just like beating up blood. He's like, come on, gang, we got to go to the new world.
And, hey, time to check in on Caribou, who's lost all of his treasure and wants to get it back. He wants to curry favor with a certain someone, but who knows who that is. There's any number of people that could be.
I'm not entirely sure, also. Actually, I think I know. I can cite what I know when this comes up. I'm not sure if it comes up again before that, which is okay. I'm sorry for being vague, but
it's fine. Like I said, there's any number of people it could be.
I literally just remembered like, oh, that's probably who, but I don't think I'm gonna remember I'm not gonna remember this scene when it comes back.
Yeah,
because it's not for a while.
But he spots Tamago and Peckham, and it's like, they're the ones who stole my treasure. It's time to get it back. And he goes to fight them, and that's when Peckham's like, oh, a new rookie, 200 million bounty, huh? And that's when Caribou brings out his Swamp Gatling gun, which is honestly kind of awesome. It's cool tech yet.
Yeah, he just just unloads on Peckham's, but it turns out Peckham's has like a turtle shell, which seems to be his devil fruit.
Yeah, so he's a lion man with a turtle shell, which if he's naturally a lion man, he just ate the turtle fruit. But if he's actually supposed to be a man and this is his mixed form or something like that, maybe we have one of those mystical zone types as well, because we do have from Avatar: The Last Airbender and other types where it's like lion turtles. Mm-hmm. That combination.
Yeah.
So that's my best guess.
The actual explanation is much simpler.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. It'll come up when it comes up. But I do love this whole sequence because it's just like, oh, devil fruit powers, and then he comes at him with a scythe and it's just like, oh, you're just a zone type, and then he swings and here comes Peckham's, who's got armament hockey. He can hit a Logia type and just sends Caribou flying.
Knocks him out in one punch. And that's when we find out that Peckham's has a bounty of 330 million.
Hey, not bad. Honestly, I just love seeing Caribou get the mess knocked out of him.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it's obviously you would expect that Big Mom pirates, they probably got hands.
Oh, yeah.
They're not nothing.
Oh, for sure not. And I want to say that, and it's the last we'll ever see of him. Probably not.
Oh, I wish.
But time to actually check in on the new world, which is close to the Red Line, where the Navy or the Marines are dealing with the fact that tons and tons of pirate ships are rising from the depths, one after the other. And we get look out, Captain Tashigi. Oh, heck, here's Tashigi, aged up a bit. We don't even see her fully yet. Just has the Navy coat there, where she takes the cannonball that got fired there, catches it with the back of her sword, and then launches it away. That's awesome.
She's leveled up a little bit.
It's great, except she keeps getting leered at by the crew, which I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, well... Yeah, apparently the way that they're talking, Tashigi, she's the lone bright spot of the filthy old G5, which is not the first time we've heard of this, but seeing sort of the full page reveal of Tashigi, she is the captain of this G5 now, apparently.
Yeah, she's ranked up a bit because Smoker was captain before, so she has gone up the ranks. Mm-hmm. And she still has her gimmick where she's talking to the mast at one point because she doesn't have her glasses on. But, she's still doing well.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's great.
We get a little bit of Smoker. We don't get the full reveal. All we know is that he has a shades on again. And it looks like his hair is a bit more slicked back. But he's interrogating the pirates, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And they don't want to sell out Luffy because, well, he saved him. But he also knows that, it's G5. They stab needles into pirates and use them to fish for sharks. They make campfires out of pirates. It's a lawless unit of crazed sailors that ignores orders from HQ. So, yeah, that fits Smoker a bit.
I was going to say, this is perfect for Smoker, he's a hard-boiled cop who doesn't play by the rules.
We also learned that Smoker has gotten quite the promotion. He's a vice admiral now.
Yeah. There was that scene right before the time skip where he said he wanted to be transferred to G5, I think.
Yes.
So we're actually seeing this play out, which is really cool.
Very much so. It's like, Smoker's gotten a step up. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And of course, he already knows it was the Straw Hats who did this.
So there you go, man. It's cool. And I wouldn't have noticed this if not for checking the wiki right before we started recording. But he's got a scar on his right eye.
Yes, I do see that. And you can barely, yeah. So I'm looking forward to the full reveal because I can't remember if we actually get that during these chapters.
I think so.
I'm just blanking on it, I think.
Yeah.
But, well, let's go ahead and get to chapter 653, The Hero Hat. And, hey, we finally learned that Kokuro's an ice fish mermaid, and she has a nice day off under the sea with all the fish, and, I forget the frog's name.
Oh, Yokozuna.
Yokozuna. And she's still drinking.
What I want to know is why she's drinking underwater and why she has a newspaper underwater. And an umbrella, for that matter.
It's her day off. You just have to explain it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Good for her.
Yeah. We're playing off SpongeBob rules now. It's like, how is there a fire under... Oh. Just don't bring it up. It'll be fine.
It's fine.
We begin the chapter itself at the Mermaid Cafe, where all the mermaids want to say goodbye to the crew as Luffy and them are getting ready to leave, and Cammy's going with them. And Charlie's like, all right, I'll need your help to get the cafe buzzing again, since, of course, the pirates are going to be coming back now that Hodie's been defeated. And Charlie's also made the decision to destroy her crystal ball, because she never wants to see a future as terrifying as Fishman Island brought to ruin.
I like how Cammy points out that, like, her prediction hasn't been proven wrong yet. Just because Luffy saved Fishman Island, which I feel like that has to be like some in-game level stuff. I really don't know where that whole prediction thing is going, but like I feel like that has to come up again before the end of the series.
It has to. It's too big of a loose thread. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and there's already so much other lore tied into Fishman Island and like the Void Sensory and stuff like that, and the Joy Boy and the Promise and all of that. Like, it's a little too convenient for my blood.
Yeah, but she's basically does say that she trusts the Straw Hats now, so I'm gonna put my faith in him. And Shirahoshi is crying. She's like, I made a real friend. Can you stay another day, a week, a year? It's like, geez, I never see you not crying, Wimpy Hoshi.
Which is fair enough.
Brooke has got a new song. And Zoro's got a new insult for Sanji with nosebleed.
Nosebleed, yeah. Which, hey, he earned it for sure.
Very fitting. Meanwhile, the Seahorsemen are just like, we should probably tell the Straw Hats that they accidentally sent a bomb to Big Mom.
Yeah, and I love that there's like, we don't have the heart to tell them. They're already going.
Usopp are just a mess.
We don't have, like, they're already going through so much with this whole Big Mom thing, and they're just like, and I love that this little side conversation they're having where they're just like, you planted the bomb a decade ago, like maybe it just won't detonate. And it's like, that's the spirit, Your Majesty.
That's amazing. But we also get some lore for the new world, because we found out that we need a new log pose for the new world. It was something that was mentioned long ago.
Yeah, it was, like, right at the start of this arc.
And the Catfish Minister shows it to Nami. It's like, okay, this is weird. Why are there 3 needles? And, well, yours is still swinging bit by bit. And that's the thing. It's like, it has set itself. The process takes no more than half a day. However, in the new world, not only do the currents and weather patterns change, but so do the magnetic fields that were only means of navigation. So some islands will even lose their field abruptly right in the middle of your voyage. So how do you get the island to island? Well, with only 1 needle, you can't do it. But with 3 of them, they each lock on to one of 3 islands. And that's how it's all set up. It's like there's always a choice of 3 islands in the way you go. And the more one jiggles, the more dangerous it is. The less it jiggles, the nicer it is. So it's a choose your own adventure at this point. You're not locked in once you pick that first island and you just go island to island. You have multiple choice each time after each island.
Yeah, and not only that, if you choose the wrong one, you die.
Yeah. So, it's
Simple.
all about the navigator choosing the right one. It's like, and as soon as Nami hears all this, she's like, no, I don't like this at all. I'd rather be in the dark about how that works. It's like, but why? If you know the safest route, you'll give you the best odds. It's like, no, smash it. Get rid of it immediately. It's like, and Luffy immediately comes up. Oh, let me see. Oh, check out the one in the middle, the way the one in the middle is shaking. I bet that island's fun. Let's go there.
The way that he zooms in and wraps his neck around Nami like some kind of horror movie villain. And he's just like, ooh.
And that's when Brooke starts playing a Requiem for Us.
All right, we're going to die.
That's Luffy. Of course he wants to go to the most dangerous one.
Yeah. And I love, just as a quick little bit, since, Frankie says we're all ready to go, he got a new haircut.
Yeah, he's looking like a stag beetle.
Yeah, I really think the buzz cut is the worst one.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all of these from here on out. Basically, it's just the quote unquote default look is the most just kind of eh.
Yeah, the Beetle is okay, but it's definitely better than the buzz cut.
Yeah, I feel like he's got that little boy energy, which is a silly thing to say for a man who's like 10 feet tall and built like Frankie is. But I don't know, it's that like that Japanese countryside boy obsession with bugs kind of thing, where like, oh yeah, stag beetle, yeah.
Very, very cool. And we get all of our goodbyes from the mermaids, from Hachi, from the princes, and we just get this little nod between Luffy and Jinbei.
I love that where he's just like, Jinbei, he's just got that nod, and he's like, all right. So Jinbei, that's code for Jinbei's not joining yet. When we got to figure out some stuff, but I feel like we're gonna have to get there.
Mm-hmm. Shirahoshi's the last one who climbs up on the ship and just crying is like,
yeah, that sense of scale is so funny.
It's like, if we ever meet again, I will no longer be the crybaby you know now. So I hope you'll escort me on another enjoyable stroll. It's like, oh, your mom's grave? No, someplace further, or like to the surface or a real forest. It's like, oh yeah, you've never been there. Yeah, next time we're gonna take you on a trip. And so Luffy has a promise with her. He wraps his pinky all around hers, thanks to his stretchy ability.
I love that all the other Straw Hats chip in too. They all pinky promise with Shirahoshi's big pinky.
It's very cute. It is extremely cute. And she splashes her face with water to get rid of the tears and smiles as they head out. And we're already starting to see the changes. We're like, one of the kids are asking, is like, I want a straw hat. I want to play heroes. It's like, they only sell those on the surface. Look, can you go up and get one? It's like, no, there's terrible humans up there. They hate our kind. And there are? Well, only a few. Like they're already trying to change.
Yep.
It's a nice bit there. And that's when Jinbei's like, I could get a shipment of hero hats for us.
It's always about the kids, man. That's the next generation. You see, that's Luffy's legacy. You know, It's a fantastic way to wrap things up as we leave Fishman Island.
Yeah, it really is. And thanks to Frankie, we have the really buoyant Taluf wood to lift up the ship and bring us back to the surface into the new world. Luffy's excited because he's going to be in the same sea as Shanks. Has all those memories, to all the promise of the new world that we heard all the way back in Water 7.
Yeah. About 200 chapters ago at this point, a little over.
Something like that.
Jesus.
So they're all excited. So here we come, new world. Let's go. And that's where we end.
This new world thing really has been such a long time coming. And even though we've been at the time skip here for about 50 chapters, like, we're just now getting to the new world. That's always the weird thing about Fishman Island to me, that like it's the start of the time skip, but it's also a transition.
Yeah, and you can definitely feel that in certain ways because again, the big thing was showing off how much more skill the Straw Hats have now.
Yeah,
we do have another SBS where fans are fishing for the new measurements of Nami and Robin, and surprisingly, Oda does not tell.
Wow. Shocking amounts of restraint.
Yes, very much so. I also love how somebody mentions like, oh, is that Taluf wood that floats really well that, Frankie just mentioned? Is that what Mr. 3 was afloat on back in chapter 175? And they're like, yes, that's exactly it. That was just foreshadowing on my part. Yeah. Really.
I do love how Oda does have this reputation as like, I mean, because he is a storyteller with such a ridiculous eye for detail that when his readers point out something that's just pure convenience, he just rolls with it. It's so good. He's like, yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and move on to chapter 654, A Gam of Whales. And we get to check in on Mozu and Kiwi. And not only that, there's Lola.
Yeah, what an odd combination of characters.
Yeah. They did say they were heading the opposite way, so it makes sense that they would end up from Thriller Bark into Water 7.
I'm shocked you remembered that.
It's funny the details I retain. I have no idea how.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Again, this cover, I kind of wish this cover story series would never end. It's kind of the best.
Mm-hmm. But we are getting close to the end of it. That's you can feel it. Like we're running out of characters.
Yeah. I wonder if we're gonna get like because I feel like this is kind of our Water 7 plus Thriller Bark, and so we're probably gonna get a couple for Thriller Bark, and then I don't know, like there's not much you could do with Saboti, and then maybe Amazon Lily.
Maybe Amazon Lily. I don't know, because we saw bits and pieces of certain characters, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, maybe Impel Down.
Oh yeah, we might get Impel Down. That makes sense.
Yeah. But we're definitely kind of in the back half.
For sure. It'll be sad when that happens, but for now, it's time to rise back up through the waters. It's much more smooth sailing now that we don't have the excitement of Fishman Island to look forward to. And Nami's taking this time to show off her new shower tempo, to put a little rain cloud and take a shower before hopping in the bath, because God knows we need more Nami cheesecake.
Yeah, I do appreciate at least that, because of course, Nami's naked, which means that's pervin time for Brook and Sanji. And this joke is always the most effective when the pervs get the comeuppance. That's like the whole function of the joke, and I feel like some people, including Oda, kind of forget that's like kind of it's like the Master Roshi thing. It's the that whole joke is supposed to be the subversion, and he doesn't get away with it. It's not funny if they're just gross.
Yeah, so and fortunately they get electrocuted by her little cloud, which
It's a 3-panel gag that is as long as it needs to be.
For sure. And Chopper just sort of asks, like, is it going to be okay with you down here and not you in charge? It's like, no.
That's foreshadowing. Oh, no.
It's like, they can handle it. What are they doing? They're fishing.
Yes.
They want to fish.
It's just like, all right, it's time for the boys to take over, which means there's one brain cell. and not only that, Robin's up here on the deck, and she's like, oh, this looks like fun. She's just like she's like, oh, those boys, just, watching the kids.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
Not going to interject, just like, oh, they're having fun. But we have ugly sucker with salt, a giant blobfish with mayonnaise, and an eel that would go great with soy sauce. And, of course, Luffy, who wanted the one with mayonnaise, chooses the blobfish and so punches it out with his jet pistol.
It's great. Yep. It's just, this is kind of that, like, I feel like people often lament, it sort of getting ahead of myself slightly, of like, I do feel like now that we're kind of in the new world proper, these kinds of scenes do sort of happen less and less often, of the crew just kind of screwing around and just getting into shenanigans. So I feel like cherish this while you have it, because it's great.
That's some of my favorite bits. That's all I never minded the filler in One Piece.
Yeah.
Because it's just more of them messing around.
I think it's just my personal opinion. I think because the stories get so much more complicated with so many more moving pieces, that the opportunities for this kind of downtime do start to lessen a bit. They're still there, but I do think because I see commentary every now and again of whenever the crew is just allowed to mess around and get goofy, like you're like, oh, this is like pre-time skip, and I'm like, yeah, I guess when you think about it that way, these do happen a little bit less often.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but at least we got this one where, well, there's always a bigger fish. The blobfish gets eaten, and then the one that ate the blobfish gets eaten himself. And
it's a Matryoshka fish.
It's like, things are getting a little dangerous. And then Nami's immediately like, I think I made a mistake. But Zoro takes out that giant fish with his 360-pound phoenix with no issue.
I also, again, thank you, Wiki people, because I would not have noticed this otherwise, but the last time we saw this attack, it was 36, so it has gotten an upgrade to 360.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, he just increased the power by 10. Jeez.
Yes. And I love that we're seeing Sanji here. He's like, oh, man, I can't wait to cook these deep sea fish up, and he's just electrocuted. It's just like, what happened to you?
But they're starting to sink because, well, it turns out there's they think it's a giant snake, but it isn't. It's a white strom, an enormous whirlpool that appears without warning near the seafloor, like a live writhing dragon. And Nami immediately recognizes it as like, oh God, is that what I think it is? And Robin explains, it's like, yeah, once a ship is caught in the stream, it turns up days later an unfathomable distance away and entirely empty, meaning the crew is probably dead. So
it's a magic warp zone.
There's no, we're going to die. And it's like, okay, we need to get away. And Nami sees the giant fish. It's like, what is that? It's like, oh, we caught it for food. No, it's dragging us into the white strum. Get rid of it.
This is God. This is one of those adventure chapters that's just full of all these silly little details that just gets the crew into chaos.
And she's yelling at him to cut it loose. I'm like, no. Even Usopp's like, no, we can't get rid of that. It's like, I can't even take a bath for 10 measly minutes. And she asks Frankie to use the coup de burst. It's like, nope, too late. And,
I love he poses for it.
Into the white strum they go. And all of a sudden, they stop. They don't get taken away that far. And they find themselves out in the middle of a bunch of whales. And they immediately call out, especially because the one with a bunch of scars on its nose, Laboon?
Right. Which is a little bit confusing, but you're like, oh no, Laboon would be on the other side of the Grand Line, or like on the other side of the Red Line.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to make it this far. And oh God, I love this scene for Brooke. Just him getting all blubbery and crying about it. It's just like, and Robin being like, oh my gosh, it's an entire game of island whales. And even if some of them have scars like it. So that's amazing. And it's Brooke, he just immediately starts singing Binks's Brew.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love this. I love this joke from Sanji. It's like, all right, no, we need to do a head count. Do we lose anyone? Nami, here. Robin, present. Okay, that's everyone. Let's get out of here.
Yes. It's kind of a blink and you miss it joke, too. And we just kind of move on from it.
Yeah, the whales are actually creating their own current. So it's only put us in greater danger. So just follow their group and we'll be much safer that way. And all the while, Brooke is like, are there any relatives present for this whale named Laboon? He's a smaller whale separated from its pod 50 years ago. He's safe, but he's full grown by now. It's like your little one as well. It's like, oh, it's so sweet. We're so used to pervy Brooke.
And it's kind of a nice reminder too, because like Brooke's dream in particular, to like reuniting with Laboon is sort of like you have to get to the other side of the Grand Line in order to achieve that. And so here at the start of the second half, we're on the opposite side. It's like, okay, it's kind of a nice little reminder of what Brooke is kind of fighting for.
And he starts singing and it immediately just charms the whales that they're like, okay, well, we're going to take you on the upward current. So we'll take you to the surface because you guys are cool. It's an extremely sweet moment, and they surface out into the ocean, and it's not exactly nice weather. It's stormy skies, gales of powerful wind. They're way off the needle's course.
Parts of it are on fire.
Yeah, parts of the ocean are on fire, and just like, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, I love the Zoro's like it's like the entrance to hell.
But it's a cool 2-page spread, though.
It's not what you would expect as like your first entrance into the new world. Like, I feel like as a reader, you would expect something a little more maybe like majestic or grandiose, but instead you just get like this kind of metal. Or just like, there's whales screaming everywhere. It's raining and lightning and everything's on fire. Like, oh, this is the new world, huh? It's a bit of a different vibe.
Yeah, I mean, we did get a little hint of the new world thanks to the other supernovas and some of the crazy crap they were dealing with. So this is just Luffy's version.
What a way to set the table.
Yeah, for sure. We do have an SBS, this time going over blood types. And they're like, oh, you said Sanji had type S blood. Isn't that weird? What are the other blood types? And that's when we get like F for Luffy, XF for Brooke, X for Nami, S for Usopp, and also Robin, which is like, wait, S? That's the same as Sanji, but no, his is extremely rare, where it's S with the parentheses RH minus.
I think there's an explanation for that. Again, a little too specific.
Oda has a plan for that, it seems.
Yeah.
It's interesting he changed up the terms for the blood types, though.
Yeah, it's a fun little, like, extra layer of just making the One Piece world weird and different.
That's true. But time for chapter 655, Punk Hazard.
New arc, baby!
Yeah, the last chapter is technically the start of the new arc. I think this sort of works a little bit better.
Yeah, because wow, man. It's crazy.
Yep.
I feel like this has been the goal for so long. Since this is the arc where you left off on, it's like, okay, we just need to get here. And now we're here.
We're here. Oh, that's weird. But I also love where, I think you talked about this either privately or I can't remember if he said it on the podcast, but Iceberg's new secretary ended up being a genius 10-year-old secretary who we did see line up for the position.
Yeah, and the thing is like, I thought that because I forgot about this one, there is a scene from much later on where we see her talk to Iceberg like in canon, like so that, you know.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and so I was like, and I think that chapter had come out around the time we were in that cover story. And so I was like, oh wow, that was crazy. That's like, oh, he chose the little girl, but no, okay, that happened here.
Yeah, we actually get confirmation that this is where he chose her, and that's again great continuity.
Yeah, no, God, that's crazy. And also, I love that Tyrannosaurus got really big because he used to fit inside Iceberg's
oh yeah, pocket. He did have a growth spurt. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he's so
I was just
cute.
I was just admiring his suit.
It's got that drip. No traitors here, hopefully.
I hope not.
Yeah, Iceberg seems a little unsure, but
hopefully he's not one of those like he wants a sexy secretary.
Oh,
yeah. But he chose the 10-year-old, so I think that I don't have to worry about that. He just like, no, she is that good. But it's just maybe a little awkward. It's like, I got a 10-year-old managing my schedule.
Yeah, but the description text calls her the genius 10-year-old secretary. So I hope she's good at her job.
Seems to be. But we get into the chapter itself, and yeah, in the distance, there's a volcano erupting, which might explain all the fire.
Yeah, I love, and Luffy's just like, I want to go there.
Yeah. And Nami's like, we have 3 needles. None of them are pointing to that island. So we shouldn't probably go there. It's like, no. That's cool. We need to go there. We don't need any needles. We can see it. So let's just go. But there's fire out there. We can't do anything. And that's when Sanji comes like, got bad news. You know that those deep sea fish you caught? Yeah, they got burned up. Except for other than the stuff I was able to cut off from them. And I love the giant saw and piece of meat that that Sanji has.
Thankfully, the Sunny seems super safe, but the ocean's on fire.
Yeah, there are literally giant fish skeletons rising to the surface.
Yeah, the New World is metal.
Yeah. That atom wood is nuts with the amount of damage it takes and the fact that it doesn't catch on fire. How do they cut it?
Yeah, no, seriously. I feel like that has to be something that comes up again.
It has to be, because I don't remember the atom wood being that impressive. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they do have their own transponder snail. No, I kind of didn't realize that. They're getting an emergency alert, an SOS, and Robin immediately actually warns about this. It's like, no, the majority of emergency alerts can't be trusted. It's likely a trap set by the Navy. So they'll be able to trace your signal and they'll know where we are. So let's not answer it. So Luffy answers it. Luffy speaking, future Pirate King.
This is the second time Luffy has answered the phone by calling himself the future king of the pirates. And I feel like Luffy should not be allowed to answer phones anymore.
They gotta keep him away from these snails. Yeah. And just somebody on the other end saying, help me, it's so cold. Is that you, boss? It's like, no, I'm not your boss, but is it cold there? It's like, no, all my people were cut down one after the other. We're being killed by a samurai. Well, what's your name? It's like, help, we're trapped here on Punk Hazard.
Yes. And then he screams, you hear a slice sound effect, and oh, he's dead.
Oh, yeah. Even the snail coughs up a little bit of blood.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I also love that the SOS is the transponder snail crying. That's so cute.
It just takes on the emotions and appearances of whoever's calling. It's pretty great. And I love Luffy's reaction. It's like, I smell a mystery. It's like, there's no mystery to it. A guy just got sliced to bits.
Yes. Just Robin being calm during this whole thing. Like, yeah, it could be a cleverly acted trap.
But I like this between Zoro and Brook. It's like, samurai, that sounds familiar. Indeed, the samurai is the title of a swordsman from the land of Wano. Wano is we finally learn a little bit more about Wano. It's a nation with closed borders, no outsiders allowed within. They aren't even affiliated with the world government. So these samurai are so powerful that even the Navy does not dare breach their territory.
So I got a couple things about this. Well, one, did our first mention of Wano, was that from Ryuma?
Yes, I think so. It was definitely, we first heard about Wano in Thriller Bark, I want to say. Just
well, at least because he was Ryuma, like a samurai.
And Moria.
Yeah.
Talking about how he wanted to fight Kaido and all that.
Yeah. Well, okay, basically, Wano is One Piece Japan. I feel like
that's pretty obvious. We were just in One Piece America. Now we see One Piece Japan. I mean, the fact they're a nation with closed borders. Yeah, that's Japan.
Yeah. So not only that, and I actually love this because I was holding on to this for a bit. So that kanji there in that panel where Brooke is talking about the samurai, the kanji there obviously, like, you got the rising sun kind of imagery. The kanji is wa, which means peace, but it is also the shorthand that Japan uses for Japan. So like the actual real word for like wafu is like Japanese style clothing. I think there's like wa is like a prefix for like it is a prefix that is usually meant like a Japan, like this means Japanese. And there's a whole etymology to that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. So the term like land of Wano in Japanese is called Wano Kuni, and Kuni means country. So you could it's basically it's like a play on words to say like country of peace, but it's Japan.
Not even hiding it.
Yeah. So like basically we are learning that Wano is sort of it is a pun to say Japan, basically. and yeah, you get the whole close the borders thing, which is very much Sengoku era, that whole kind of thing. So we now know that the One Piece world has samurai and that their version of Japan is stuck in the 18th century.
Something like that. And
yeah.
It's interesting that there's a samurai there because, as Frankie points out, they didn't say anything about Wano. He said something about Punk Hazard. So is that the Fiery Island over there? And it's like, well, he was using a mini snail, so it's the only island within range, so it has to be that. And Luffy decides, no, we're going to go rescue that dude.
And I also love that we're hyping this up a bit with, apparently the samurai are so powerful that even the Navy's like, nah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, there's our challenge for Zoro. And we kind of saw the power of a samurai thanks to Ryuma.
Yeah, you're right. And a dead one.
For sure. But of course, Smoker and Tashigi wiretapped him, and they heard all that. And Smoker's like, well, we had a 1 in 3 chance, and under normal circumstances. And knowing Straw Hat, he would have gone after the one that had the rockiest needle, or so I thought. Somehow he ended up on a 4th option that I never considered, away from us. So Luffy's dumb luck with the whole White Strum got him away from Smoker without even realizing it.
2 things that I want to say. One, God, Smoker's jacked.
Yeah, he looks great. And yeah, he has definitely more of a scar now.
Yeah, his type skit design is awesome. He's just, I am in awe at how much of an absolute unit he's become. He's huge. It's great.
Yeah.
Second, one of the islands that he mentioned, Raijin Island, that we see on the next page. Raijin, of course, is Japanese for like thunder god, something cool like that. But it's also like the raining lightning is the one that we saw. I think that was Arouge who went to that like before the time skip.
You're right.
Because we saw all the supernovas like in the new world because they didn't wait. And I think it was Arouge who went to like this one.
I think you're right, because even Nami, like with the weather people, was like, oh yeah, they're the place that rains lightning.
Yeah, so, there you go. Which,
that's funny.
I don't know why you'd want to land there. Yeah. Also, also forgot a detail, but in the background, the G5 guys are just like burning pirates at the stake.
Yeah, these guys are definitely rowdy.
Yeah, they're and I love that. Like, poor Tashigi, she is just trying to wrangle these
pirate-like Navy men.
Yeah, these Navy men are more like pirates than Navy men, and it's just it feels it feels like a good fit for Smoker, who is probably a little bit more hardline, right? Like he can probably wrangle. Like he feels like a good fit for like a leader of these guys, and Tashigi's just they're not gonna listen to her. Like they're hitting on her, they're treating her like she's just an object or whatever.
Yeah,
it is an interesting situation that they've found these two in, but I'm glad to see them again.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I kind of forgot that Smoker was involved in this arc because they were immediately heading to Punk Hazard to catch up with Luffy.
Not to get ahead of myself, but Smoker's a huge part of this arc.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's time to set out, explore this island. We drew the short straws to see who would go along, and it's going to be Zoro, Robin, and Usopp. And Usopp immediately wants to trade, which again, it's a sea of fire. I understand him being a little scared.
Yeah. Also, one detail I did want to point out before we move on is that apparently Punk Hazard is off limits even to Navy people.
Oh yeah, we did mention that.
That is kind of an important detail.
It's going to be very interesting to see more of Punk Hazard once we actually get there. But thanks to Nami, we don't have to worry about sailing through the fire. She has her own Milky Road that she can create now, and they're going to use the Mini Mary to sail right over the fire.
Yeah, which is just great. I love all of this. Yeah, it's just like a little bit of Skypiea away from home. Yeah,
and honestly, great group. I like the split we have this time where we got Zoro, Robin, Luffy, and Usopp. It's a good, nice pairing. Again, I love seeing how they break off on a lot of these.
Yeah,
arcs.
it's all different. I feel like it's all different.
Always different. Also, wonderful detail here. Robin is the one steering the boat.
Oh, yeah.
If you look, her arms are coming out and she's actually steering the ship.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so good.
Because of course Luffy wouldn't be the one to pilot it.
Yeah. And I love poor Chopper. His fur, he can't handle the heat. So he's just like, I'm so glad I didn't go.
Mm-hmm. And I love the little interactions. Like, does that cloud actually reach the island? And Nami's just like, who knows? There they go, off to check all that out, and they're calmly eating their lunches, except for Usopp, who's just freaking out. He's getting his, I haven't had this in 2 years, but I'm getting my case of can't get on this island itis.
And so, again, I feel like
it's an island on fire.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of coming around, because when I first was reading Time Skip One Piece, I was like, man, Usopp is still kind of a scaredy cat, and that is kind of disappointing. Like that's how I felt. But now that I'm reading this again, I'm like, no, this is all insane, and he's normal.
Yeah, like, he's made himself strong enough to handle the first part of the Grand Line. The New World is definitely something different, where I think he can rise up to it, but he's going to be afraid getting to that point.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's undermining his progress, which was how I felt at the time, where I was like, I wish Usopp wasn't such a scaredy cat still. But like, no, one, I feel like it's important that like the crew dynamic is still kind of preserved to an extent, but no, any normal person would be like, we are going into this island that's on fire.
I would not do that. God,
exactly. No. Yes.
You can see when we actually reach Punk Hazard and see the dangerous stay away sign from both the world government and the Marines, things are melting. Metal is melting. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to point it out because they say there's the insignia of both the world government and the Navy, and there's a third symbol.
Yeah, I saw that third symbol and I'm like, who is that? I
don't know if I'm going to remember before it comes up again.
Oh, okay. But I'll have to just keep that symbol in mind. I'll do my best.
It's there for a reason.
Okay. We'll see if we learn about that in this arc or
but it is
in the future.
It is just kind of like, the signs that they point out are the smaller ones, and then there's this big one that's it's a skull with like horns coming out of the side. Like, I know what that is. Oda, you're not slick.
Oh gosh, but either way, they enter the place, and it is hot. They immediately all start stripping.
Yeah, they all start stripping. Of course, Robin's just, all right, we're just in our underwear now. Okay, sure.
I mean, thank God she has an actual normal shirt underneath, because before she's just wearing what looks to be a black dress.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And she takes it off and she actually has an undershirt underneath. And
okay, that's something at least.
short shorts. So
Yeah.
it's I'll take it. Again,
Yeah.
everybody's stripping. It is hot. Everything's on fire.
At this point, you could argue that Zoro's boobs are bigger.
Fair. So they're basically like, I don't think these were houses. I think this must have been a government facility. And what's something very curious about this island? And Luffy just immediately calls out to like, guy, we're here to rescue you. Where are you at?
It's very telling that the first detail we learned was that it was cold. And
Yeah.
and Usopp points this out, that it's just kind of like, this like place is hot. You know, what's going on there? And of course, Luffy's just like, maybe he's stupid.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe he meant that his experiences were chilling.
Oh, hey.
And that's when we get Nami sort of looking out over the fire and just like, something's wrong with the sky over this island. It looks to be freezing on the far side, but that makes no sense. And we're starting to get details about what Punk Hazard's all about. And I do remember Punk Hazard's gimmick.
Okay.
At least outer gimmick. I don't know if there's any other. I think there might be one more gimmick, but I can't remember precisely.
Oh, just one question. I hope hopefully not to say too much, but do you know why the gimmick is?
I think I read it. I don't remember it.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I don't remember why. I just remember it being there.
Okay, got it.
So that's all I got. Like I said, I'm mostly blind with this. Like
Yeah,
I remember
I feel like
things.
I'm gonna be asking some questions.
I think I remember the very last chapter I read. I don't remember what number it is, but I remember the situation, so I'll be able to point it out.
Okay, cool.
Which is kind of impressive because it's been a while since I've read this.
Yeah.
They see this skeleton of a giant, something even bigger, and all of a sudden they hear a roar, like a grrr, and they look around. It's like, wait, do those actually exist? No, they can't be real. No, that's only one thing. And we end off the chapter with them encountering a dragon.
Yes.
Who actually asks who goes there. And I think we both noticed the same thing, and I'm very glad we read this. That's just straight up the dragon from Monsters.
It is. It for sure is. Which, given that we were just talking about samurai and stuff, like, oh boy, this first chapter, we are officially in a new arc, and there's so many questions.
I love this introduction. It immediately feels like a step up to Fishman Island, where there's just immediately this intrigue. Where Fishman Island was like, other than the depths, was kind of a pleasure cruise into it. We sort of slowly get into it. And this is just push you out of that plane. Like, here you are.
All right, yeah, and I feel like it gets you excited because we're getting Smoker and Tashigi again. So there's gonna be stuff with like the Marines. We're in a government facility, which just has its like. Knowing what some of the themes of the story are that we're going to be getting into for the next little while, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we are getting back into seeing a different side of the One Piece world, and it's so exciting.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens next because I don't remember. I don't know. I completely forgot there was a dragon in this part.
Yeah, and the dragon talks, and there's a reason for that. I know what Oda's doing. He's being cheeky.
Oh my god. Oh, I am looking forward to that. I think that's a great place to stop. What a great hook for Punk Hazard.
Right? Yeah, that's good. And even again, I thoroughly enjoyed finishing off Fishman Island, and I joke, and I will probably never stop punching down at it. But the way it ends, both the climax and the falling action, I think are fantastic. And so getting to wrap that up, getting the whole Big Mom thing. Which just like, God, we had first... I think it was right before the time skip was the first time we had learned about Big Mom. Because it was like...
They were starting to talk more about the Four Emperors.
Yeah. Kid was like, oh yeah, Big Mom. And you're like, what's a Big Mom? And now we've seen it. And now, obviously, the new world has been established as the territory of the Four Emperors. So we're just going to get more and more details about them as time goes on. Like, we're in a new era of the manga, and it is so exciting. And Punk Hazard is going to establish so much of the next like 300 chapters of storytelling.
Oh my God.
Actually, maybe closer to 400.
Wow. Oh, that's exciting. We do have an SBS, a fun one, where we get to see the Thriller Bark characters as kids. We get Hogback, who's also already dissecting a rat. Absalom, who I love the details on Absalom, where he has an ugly face. He's weak. He's like all string and bones, so they can see where he was packed with muscle thanks to Hogback. He's just kind of a weakling that got augmented. I love that detail. Sindri's just straight adorable.
Yeah. Oh, also, the kanji on Hogback's t-shirt says genius.
Of course.
Of course it does. Yeah.
And then Perona, just little goth kid.
Yeah, and also the bear on Perona with Perona says Kuma A, and so which makes me think that the bear that she had on Thriller Bark was Kuma C. So I guess there must have been a Kuma B at some point too.
Yeah, just went through a few Kumas. And then we finally get to see what Kokoro looked like as a young mermaid. And what happened?
Age happened, my friend. Age. And drinking habits.
Yeah, that's what kids don't watch your drinking habits. I think that's what that comes down to.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, great end to Fishman Island. Great start to Punk Hazard. I am so excited.
This is good. I'm not a crazy fan of Punk Hazard, and I feel like I've said this kind of in our off recording discussions of like, I like it, but I'm not like over the moon about Punk Hazard. I think it's fine, but there's a lot of little things that are like, oh boy, this is good food. So I'm excited to kind of get all of the pieces in place.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that as well. So yeah, I think with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 651 to 655 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube, or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter, and also on Blue Sky without the underscore. And Brandon, where can everyone find you?
I'm Brandon Bovia on Twitter and Blue Sky. I literally just remembered the manga as of right now is on break for 3 weeks. Which,
oh yeah, I think I did see that when I went on Viz.
Yeah, we I mean, because that's it's been kind of crazy news that like we got the anime's remastering Fishman Island, and going on break for a significant period of time, and the manga's on break. The manga just hit us with, which as it tends to do, before it goes on break, we got a really, really good chapter. So just one of those things that's like, oh, okay, it's all coming together, and we're just at the start of a new arc. So it's just, I can't wait, but I gotta wait for the manga to come back in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 656 to 660 of One Piece. So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
Then I'll make Fishman Island my territory! Little brat!